video will show you how to create a static exam on Synap. From the exams page, click Set Exam. You can choose your exam name here. If you're using a static source quiz, then the users won't see the name of that quiz, they'll just see the name of the exam. They also won't see the image or the short description, that's just for your reference. Once you've selected the name for the exam, select the user group who you want to take the exam and hit Next. We're going to create a static exam, which means that all users in the exam are going to get the same set of questions. I'm going to use this quiz. I'm going to confirm, and we can see a preview with how many questions are in there, what tags those questions have got. If we're happy, we can click Finalize. If we want to change, we can click Change. Important to note at this stage, once this finalization process is complete, that the link is broken between the source quiz and the exam, which means that any changes made to the source quiz won't be reflected in the exam, and any changes made on these customization pages in the exam won't be reflected in the source quiz. For the purposes of this demo, we're going to concentrate on the exam-specific settings. For quiz-related settings, refer to our documents on quiz creation. So on the exam, you can customize the questions, EMQ groups, sections, and scoring, and that will make the exam unique from the quiz in the library. The grades can be edited from what was in the source quiz, added or removed as well. The instructions will allow you to set instructions for before the user starts the exam. And the pre-exam instructions will be pulled from the source quiz if they exist, but again, you can edit them here. You can enable resits on an exam if you have grades, and that means that if a user fails, then you can give them another opportunity to resit the exam, and you can define what set of questions they get for their resit and when they're allowed to take this. It is also possible to allow for a resit regardless of whether they pass or fail. You can enable certificates for an exam. That means that if a user passes, they can get a certificate. Again, it is also possible to issue a certificate on a failed attempt. On the proctoring page, you can enable either Synoptic proctoring or Roslyn proctoring. On the legal page, you can define a set of terms for a user to agree to, and they must read through those and click a button to say they agree to the rules before being able to start the exam. On the marking page, you can set a marker or group of markers who will be put into the pool to mark attempts. Obviously, this is particularly useful for free text questions, audio questions, etc. On the security page, you can enable the locked mode, which means that when an attempt is generated, it will by default be locked. It means that even once the exam window opens, a user won't be able to start that exam until it is manually unlocked. We can also restrict the IP address and control when a user can resume their exam session if they lose it. The communication page, do we want users to receive an automated email when they have an attempt generated or not? Do we want this exam to appear on the exam users page or not? Key setting on exams is the schedule, and we want to define here when a user can start the exam. So do we want them to be able to, for example, start the exam at some point between 2 and 3:53 p.m. on a particular date, or do we want to open the exam on, say, Saturday the 18th, and then a user can start that exam anytime from this point on, and we can keep adding users to this group. We'll set this up to be an indefinite exam, and now all we need to do to set this exam live is click Go to Publish. We can review our settings here, check and change them if needed. Once we hit Publish, anyone who is already in this user group will have an attempt generated. Anyone who is subsequently added to the user group will have an attempt generated until the close date. Obviously, in this case, we have no close date. So as long as you don't cancel or close this exam, users will have an attempt generated. The attempt management page is where you can manage users' attempts. So you can lock and unlock. You can see which settings can be changed live by this lightning bolt symbol, and any other settings can be changed by creating a new version, and you can find a new video for that in our docs.